Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me, as always, Mr. Bobby Blunts. Oh man, we got a jam-packed show. Bobby, I don't know what fucking year we are living in. Saturday night, Ronda Rousey dominates. We get Conor McGregor fight news. Is this 2016 or 2026? I don't fucking know. But that is the world we are living in. Ronda absolutely takes Gina Carano at like 17 seconds. Fight's over. The Netflix card itself, it is what it is. I wasn't surprised by anything. The quick finishes, the quick results, I think it was very kind of what we all thought it was going to be. Somebody mentioned it's like the old Strikeforce days, and that's probably exactly what it was. The production I thought was pretty decent, but they had to fill, because the fights were so short, they had to fill it up with a bunch of extra bullshit that we didn't fucking need, and that stuff. Let's just start with the production itself, and then we'll kind of talk the fights. Your thoughts on just the production that Netflix and MVP put on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it looked nice for sure. Definitely how we've seen them put on enough boxing events to where we kind of know what we're getting into, and it kind of had that same quality. Definitely great choice for them to select the Intuit Dome. I mean, with the lights and everything on the seats, it kind of captivated it a little bit more. So that was a good first venue for them to go to. It did pretty decent at the box office. They gave away like 2,300 tickets, but they still had a pretty respectable gate overall. And so I would consider like the gate a success on that end. Normally you would catch me complaining about the pacing and stuff. It was a rare I did not care because I was watching the UFC at the same time, and I don't know if it just I don't think it was intended by this, like maybe the fight gods were just looking down on us, but literally I was able to watch each event separately, fully focus on it, because every time there was a finish, they would go back to the desk on the MVP card. And, I normally would be agreeing with you, but since I was watching both live, I was like, hey, I'll take advantage of it. There was definitely some stuff that was extremely over the top. And, normally I wouldn't even mention it because, it's the first event. You kind of got to put yourself out that way. But I did mention it quite multiple times for Max Kellerman. So I only think it's fair that I mention that, like, Ariel was just a tad bit over the top, but I could completely understand if it worked for other people because he did cover all three of these athletes. So I could see if he got emotional, but that was kind of the only part in the broadcast where I was like, I'm already here sort of thing. But at the same time, I fully understand them like making it feel very big and an inspirational moment. So I can't really get that mad at it at the end of the day. They're just trying to promote the event and have it have that big feel. And I do think they succeeded in that, like, regardless of how the fights went or anything like that, the card they built, the product that they were able to put on both the MVP YouTube and the main card, I think it went about as good for them as it could have went. So, kudos to them.
Yeah, I have a just small couple complaints. I think Ariel had to kind of go over the top because, again, the short fights, and so he's asking multiple fucking questions in the cage, right? And they don't have anything to promote, right? Like, you can't really ask a whole lot of, like in the UFC, they're like, oh, here's this here's the preview to next next month's card, or here's make sure you tune in this Paramount or this and this and this. They don't really have that, right? Because we don't. This is a one-off. Maybe sounds like MVP is going to stay in this Netflix, or MVP is going to stay in the UFC MMA world. It seems like, which I think is great for MMA. We need to. It's already starting, Bobby. I'm as a wrestling fan, right? You have to. It's like tribalism's already started. It's like in wrestling, we have you either a WWE fan or AEW fan. No, I can be a fan of fucking both, and I can watch both. And it's already starting in MMA. It's like you have people just dog shitting the UFC say, and then this MVP thing was the greatest, or vice fucking versa. Just enjoy it. Just sit back and enjoy it. The more we have, the better for everybody. And that's the truth. The one knock I have on MVP, I don't need to see Jake fucking Paul after in the ring after every fucking fight. You're not Dana White putting a belt on somebody. You're just fucking standing there. And then, because you are standing there, that brings attention. Then every fucking person is calling you the fuck out because you're standing there. I don't fucking need it. And at one point in time, he did tell Mike Perry, hey, this is your night. Enjoy it. But don't fucking stand there. Just fucking sit back in that little weird pool thing that you were fucking sitting in all night and just fucking stay there. Now, at the end of the night, you could probably come out with Ronda and win the end. But I didn't need to see his ass standing there after every fucking fight. It was unneeded. But yeah, that was kind of my biggest complaint.
Yeah, I definitely get it. A lot of stuff in the ring, or cage, I'm so used to talking about Jake Paul boxing. I'm not really too mad at it. Like the stuff that I was, I had no problem with like Ariel's interviews. I knew he had to keep the time going with the lack of stuff going on.
They probably wanted to wait that main event till the UFC was over, right? And even more eyes.
Yeah. And, it was more the stuff at the desk that kind of, I don't want to call eye rolling, but I was like, okay, let's just get to the fights here. But like with like Jake Paul and Nikisa being in the ring, I do acknowledge that is kind of bizarre to have the promoter there like during the post-fight interviews. But at the same time, that's a fairly common thing in boxing, which is the world they very came from. So, but I do think you're right.
They're not in there in boxing after every fight. I don't feel like.
Not in every fight, but like definitely the main events and stuff, they're definitely in there. And I do think Jake kind of got annoyed at getting called out most of the night being in there, even though I'm pretty sure that was intended by design, especially with like the lack of stuff they have. They could do worse than like putting on Mike Perry versus Jake Paul in his first MMA fight or something. Even though it's nothing like we would be clamoring that we absolutely have to see, it's going to do enough numbers to get them to put it on. Because the thing that was telling to me is they, talked about Netflix being their partners, and obviously they want this partnership to continue. I think we all do, but it didn't sound like that was a sure thing. Like, we don't know what Netflix was trying to get out of this. I would assume breaking the record for an MMA event in your first event would be deemed a success, and they would order more. But it would just kind of come down to the quantity and stuff. And then I know we haven't really gotten into the fights yet, but I understand why Francis called out John Jones with him being at the event. But at the same time, that was very telling of the lack of stuff they can actually book Francis with.
Right.
Because, I mean, I don't
we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. I want to get to the main event. Ronda wins in 17 seconds. And there's people out there, Jim Cornette, the fucking famed WWE manager, wrestling manager, and others. Oh, this was a work. This was a work. Have you never fucking watched Ronda? This was Ronda Rousey to the T. Ronda Rousey made a fucking career of doing exactly this. Taking somebody down, putting them in the armbar. Fight is over in less than a minute. I mean, this ain't the first time she's done this. Now it will be hopefully the last time that she's done this, but it wasn't the first time. It wasn't a work. It was legit. Now, Carrano and this was the problem. Carrano hasn't fought, like I said last week, in fucking 17 damn years. So what did you think? Ronda came right at her. She didn't fucking move. She let her take her down, and then the fight was over. Of course she's gonna be happy. She was in there. She got paid a fucking millions of fucking dollars for one fight in 17 seconds. I'd be fucking happy too.
Jim Cornette actually said that on a podcast.
Yeah, he said it in a tweet. He went back and forth with our guy Ben Davis or Ben the Bane.
I mean, I know he is not a fan of Ronda because of her time in WWE, but what a fucking moron to actually, like, I can't believe that anyone would actually think that that was staged. Like, to me, that just shows whether
He's
you're kind of
not the only person. A lot of people thought it was a work.
Yeah, well, I would assume a lot of those people probably have never seen Ronda Rousey fight,
right?
Because obviously the most predictable outcome happened. I mean, that is. I wanted Gina to win. I didn't really think there was a chance in hell of that happening. And
what did they think was going to happen? That's the answer. Like everything was. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen?
I think some people might have had the perception that Rousey would have maybe carried her for a little bit, but that is
make it a show.
Yeah, but to me, that is equally stupid.
Right.
In almost saying that it's staged, to actually thinking she wouldn't go in there and make the easiest payday of her career, taking 0 damage. So
exactly right. Like you're not. They don't get paid by the hour or the minute. You know what I mean? Just go in there and win the fight, and it's over.
And not only that, but the big thing she got paid for was promoting it, backing it. You don't pull those numbers if she is not on that card. You could definitely eclipse some record-breaking numbers. I don't know if they're going to be that high. And I mean, I guess the true litmus test will be when we get a second event.
And that would be my next question, really. Like, and we'll go back to the fights, but like, you have Ronda who's retired. Nobody's signing up to headline Gina. It's like if they do a next promotion, like the problem is all the main people that are in their prime are signed to the UFC, right? Like, I don't know, other than Francis fighting Van Hooven, if that happens in MMA, if that's the route to go. If you can fill out another card filled with to make people want to come in and watch on Netflix. Now, I think if MVP just did like its own promotion and started building it up, and they couldn't put it on Netflix because Netflix isn't going to be. It doesn't seem like Netflix is just going to want that, right? They want these big events, so that would be the interesting part. Is like, where do you get the roster, the talent, where people are going to where the casuals will tune in to want to watch it?
I think their best move is headlining with the fight they should have made last Saturday and have Francis fight Robles, the dude that sent JDS to fucking Valhalla.
JDS had no business being in that octagon.
That would have, I don't know if it would have went any different, but I think that would have been a little bit more compelling. But to me, that is the one they kind of have in their back pocket if they want a headline. You could probably, you could easily, if Jake Paul made the decision to want to do it, him and Mike Perry would be a layup in MMA. That would garner enough like combination of hate watch views, the people that want to watch MVP. That would do well. I mean, if they want to do it more like a mega event, have that, do a double thing. Francis seemed to have no ego problems being the co-main event, even though they built it like the triple main event. So you could do him
versus. Was the third fight actually? It wasn't even the co-main. The co-main technically was Mike Perry and Nate Diaz.
Yeah. So do Francis versus Robles for the co-main, and Perry versus Jake for the main. I mean, I think that will do it. the main reason I point that out is we know Netflix has already been wanting to be in the Jake Paul business as far as him fighting. So I think that's like maybe one of their easiest sells to greenlight another event that would ensure it would be on Netflix. Could they get that solely with just Francis and Robles? For me personally, I think they can. I generally wonder what Netflix appetite would be to if they build him just as the headliner. I think he showed a good enough performance to where it'd be a suitable enough main event. But I guess it's just really where you have your expectations for this thing. Like I've seen the word compete is where I get off the train. Like if you're going to tell me they're going to compete with the UFC, that nobody is competing with a monopoly. There is a reason why they have it set up the way they do. Now, MVP can absolutely exist, put on their own events in their own right, and that will probably do more overall for the sport. The sport absolutely needs that, but I don't think there's anything they're going to do that is really going to concern the UFC when they know they have John Jones 6 fight left in his deal. He will die of old age before he gets out.
Yeah, we'll get to. I want to get to that in a second.
They just locked up Poten for 8 fights, so
yeah,
you know.
But will there be maybe not those top-notch stars, Jones and Pierre, but maybe somebody, you know, kind of on the cusp, or that's maybe down, right? I don't know. Let's just say I don't know where Izzy's contract is, but somebody like that, or somebody, maybe even a younger star that's kind of John Silva. Let's just say his contract ends, or is like only 2 fights left. Because MVP is a proven entity now and is proven that they can pay these people well above what PFL is doing. Would that maybe be inclined for UFC fighters to fight out their contract and go over to MVP? That would be the only way.
True. However, the way the UFC is extending these contracts, that is a big hurdle. Like Jim Miller has 40 fights to get, or 4 fights to get to his 50th fight. UFC signed him for 5.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
And so I got a name that you're absolutely not going to like, but I could see it being very plausible in the next 2 years. Tom Aspinall.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that, right? Because
having the Eddie Hearn representation, you know, he possibly fights out, and you know, you could easily do him versus Francis. Granted, that is probably going to take 2 years plus. So, do you have the shelf life to get through that?
Does Francis have the shelf life? I mean, Francis is no spring chicken.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that they could not eventually build out a stable of fighters that fight out their UFC contracts. My main question is would that interest Netflix, or is MVP going to have to find another broadcast partner to do this? I think both are kind of good problems to have, because they at least showed that they could do it, put on something that will make people want to watch. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's irrelevant with like the traffic that like Ronda was pulling in on her own, but you know, they are the ones that were responsible. Like they obviously got the Netflix check and built out the entire event. So there's no question they could do that, but I even think they can do it on a smaller scale if they wanted to do it on their end. But at the same time, that's like when the number of events might matter if they're doing it on their own, opposed to if Netflix is just ordering one of these a quarter, you know?
Yeah, I think they would be better off to start one a quarter, and then build off of that in the first year or so. Back to you mentioned Mike Perry. He absolutely just dominated Nate Diaz. I told you Saturday, Nate Diaz looks every bit like a 41-year-old fighter who just, he in his head, he still thinks he has it, but he offered Mike Perry absolutely nothing. Mike seems to be very willing and open to a UFC return after that. And by God, if I'm the UFC, like Mike Perry versus like a Carlos Prates would be a fun one. You know what I mean? Or somebody like that in that welterweight division.
Did he say that?
Yeah, in the post in the press post, he said like I've seen an interview, or I don't know if it was the post interview, like the scrum, but he definitely seemed like he would be open to a UFC type return. It would be interested in making a return at MMA full time in the UFC.
And what is the problem with that? Because like the I didn't even know he said that, because literally like I got stars by the names of guys that like MVP should want to retain. One of them is Mike Perry. One of them is Saladin Parnasse. And both of them were campaigning to get into the UFC after this event.
Yeah.
And those are like the kind of things where I don't want to be negative or anything, but it's like, fuck. Like, it reminds me of like when the the LFA champion defends their title, and in the post-fight interview, they're calling to go to the UFC. So, granted, I think the best move for Perry, I mean, granted, he's still with BKFC, but I think his best move is to do another one of these for MVP, because he absolutely had a perfect, very smart fight IQ game plan. You know, he just knew he was going to cut Nate up with the elbows, and he looked very well prepared for that fight. Like, for someone that hasn't fought in MMA in that long, to where when you're watching Nate, like, I hate to say it, but I kind of understand why he wanted to do boxing more with the gloves and no elbows, because, you know, you really forget about all that scar tissue. But then the second the fight happens, it's like, Jesus.
Blood everywhere. Yeah.
Absolutely. Shout out to Stitch Duran. You could not have sent him back out there. He was not going to make that choice. So
no, it was just literally squirting outside of his head.
Yeah. I'm very happy that Stitch was in his corner. He's
agreed.
One of the GOATs for the reason. It's an absolute shame he can't do a fucking UFC event, but we've said that 100 times.
Yeah. I mean, Nate asked him to be in the event, and that was and he's done a great job. He did a great job. I mean, Stitch obviously used to be in the UFC and do it all, and seen it all. So, and Nate told him, he said thanks. I mean, yeah, he could not continue. Mike Perry just beat the mess out of him. I love Nate Diaz. He's one of my all-time favorite fighters. I have no desire to ever watch him fight again after Saturday, Bobby.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Maybe it's just because of the numbers that they know the event did and the traction, but I was pretty shocked when Nikisa and Jake Paul were talking about wanting to do a rematch of that fight.
Yeah.
I really care about Nate as well, and I know damn well I'm never going to be able to tell him to stop. My opinion is irrelevant, but I would kind of prefer not to. Before I didn't want to see him in boxing. Now I would almost kind of prefer it if he's going to continue to fight. But
yeah.
And I'm not sure if like he just did cardio, but and I'm not really trying to call him out for this, but like Perry looked like he was dialed in and like trained every aspect of this, where Nate was just kind of going off like what has always worked in the past and stuff. And when that didn't, Perry,
I don't even think he looked good. I don't even think he looked good. Like, you know what I mean?
He had that one moment where he got on the top position with the reversal, and he did land some shots, but yeah, it was a rough night to be a Nate Diaz fan for sure.
Yeah. I think Luke Thomas said it best. He said the Diaz brothers are both great jujitsus who hate jujitsu. You know, like, and they could have used a little bit, but yeah, give kudos to Mike Perry. And if he went back to the UFC, I wouldn't hate it. But if I'm him, it all depends on what Mike wants to do, right? I don't think he's ever going to be like a title winner. But so go out and make your money, and you're making a shit ton of money right now, Mike, by doing all the things that you're doing. So.
Yeah,
Uh,
I truthfully don't understand why he would want to go back to the UFC. Because, like, BKFC gives him a lot of latitude being able to compete,
right.
as does MVP. I mean, this is the whole reason Nate didn't want to sign back with them, because he wanted kind of the freedom. And, like, Mike has that. I don't think there's anything worth giving that up, in my opinion.
Right. Real quick on, you mentioned the Francis. I mean, obviously, poor Felipe Lins. I mean, Jesus, Herb Dean was waiting for that guy to die. Luckily, Francis took mercy on him and didn't follow up. I mean, as Herb's standing there, just kind of waiting for Francis to deliver this man into you know, a coma. But you know, luckily Francis was, you know, is nice enough and didn't want to murder a man. And you know, Francis, for him to call, first of all, we knew that was going to happen, right? They knew that they wanted John Jones there. John Jones was there, and so they could try to do this bullshit. Francis versus Jones. We all know, real people, the people who've been following this sport for a long fucking time know John Jones is never getting out of this UFC contract. He, like you said, I think before the Gone fight, he signed a 6-fight deal. He fought twice since then.
No. He signed an 8-fight deal. He fought twice. He owes them 6
fights.
They own him forever. Remember that kid in the Sandlot? Forever.
So,
like, just the, I understand why they did it, but like Nikisa talking about thinking he can get him out of his contract, you must be smoking crack. Like, do people forget that Hunter Campbell was a lawyer? Like, that is never happening.
Yeah, it's never happening. And Francis probably never going back to the UFC. So that's mark that down in the history books of MMA, that a fight we're never going to get. And they can keep, oh, you know, we got to get this. It's never fucking happening. Didn't need it. And I'm kind of with you. The fight to make for Francis is the, either Van Hooven, either boxing or MMA, or the Espen, the guy the French guy, whoever knocked out, whatever his name is, Robles, from that just, you know, sent JDS back to the nursing home.
Yeah. Terrible night for Herb Dean. I found it kind of comical that they got all the premium officials and they were just pretty bad. You know, that Nakuda kid got fucked over. That should have went to the judges' scorecards.
Yeah.
And Herb Dean was reviewing it, saying he went out after, or like at 4:59, when he literally held the choke 2 seconds longer. And so, yeah, that felt like too many cooks in the kitchen. But like you said, I'm glad that Francis is a nice human being and respects his opponent, because Herb Dean sure as hell does it. And I only saw the clips of the Ariel interview, but like Herb Dean literally doing an interview with no accountability whatsoever. Like, how hard is it to be like, oh no, I just wasn't on that one. And then like they're showing the stills of the guy just simply not there, and he looking over, and then Francis is like, you know, what are we doing here? He's like, oh, okay, wave it off.
Francis like, I murdered this man. Herb's like, no, kill him one more time.
And if you want any more proof that the money that they reported is not accurate, Francis is such a mensch. He gave his win bonus to Felipe.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'm pretty sure if he's doing that, he didn't make 1.5 or whatever that bullshit they reported there.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they all made a lot of fucking money. So,
but do you agree that Francis is their best option of having a big name kind of thing?
Yeah, but I just don't know how many names are left. Right.
Yeah. And the thing I have pause about it is how that PFL event went. Like, I know the reason the PFL made money on that was because the Saudi sports ministry for like the site fee, but I don't think the event was received that well. But granted, that was under a pay-per-view, where this is being Netflix. So I think it's a good enough soundbite for them to do. I kind of hope it's what they do, but we'll just have to see if Netflix orders it.
Yeah. Bobby, let's move to the UFC. Arnold Allen, I thought one of his best showings in quite some time. Took care of Melky Costa in all 5 rounds. Couldn't quite get him out of there, but looks pretty dominant. I thought, all 5 rounds. I thought maybe Melky could have won, might have won round 1. One judge gave him round 2. I didn't see that, but Arnold Allen just complete domination on Saturday night in the glorious Apex.
Yeah, that was a rough one for Melky, but like nothing he can't really bounce back from.
And he lost to Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen's only lost to Max Holloway, who is obviously an all-time great in the featherweight. He lost to Mozart Evlov, who is, number 1 contender, and he lost to John Silva, who is right there ready to fight for the title. So it's like he didn't lose to like some chump. He lost to a really great fighter.
Yeah, most of the guys he lost to, I would call elite.
Yeah, right.
And there's one that I will not.
Even the Mozart fight, you could make a case that Arnold won that fight. And if fucking Canada was with regular ass rules these days, he probably wins that fight.
Yeah, I'll allow it. I don't necessarily agree, but but that's the weird thing. Okay, he 50-45's Melky, all-time good showing. I really don't know what to do with him next.
Him and Yair?
I would take absolutely.
Him and
I don't even know if he called Yair out, but that's one that should happen.
Him and Aljo would be great.
That would also be very fun. I don't know if Aljo takes that since he's clamoring for the Volk thing, but that is much more of a title eliminator to me than the Zalal fight. So
yeah, and you could do him and Lerone in you could put that in London.
Yeah. So what the fuck am I talking about? Those are 3 perfect choices. Great.
Yeah.
I would take any of those 3. Sign me up.
Yeah, you're welcome, Bobby. I mean, go ahead. UFC, my number is just hit me up. I'll match make for you.
I hope they don't make him fight another guy that's like trying to break into the top 10.
No, I think now he's proven he's the gatekeeper. Like, he needs to try to fight up. And Yair, we haven't seen Yair in a while, so that makes sense. I don't mind him. I really think him and Lerone, you could, like I said, you could do an all England event in, if they go back to London or not, or to England this year or not.
What about him and Pico?
Yeah, that would be a good one. He would destroy. I think he would send Pico out to the pastures like Lerone did, though.
Ooh, the Pico fan club's gonna come for you, man. Pico's got a pretty fun following on Twitter. I like with scenes, but they're mostly memes. But it's it makes me laugh. But yeah, I mean, I think any of those are great. And Costa, I understand you like possibly giving him a round, but after that first round, it really felt like there was really going to be no avenues of him winning there.
Yeah. Unless he could just knock him out, find something.
Yeah.
But Arnold's got a damn chin, so like he's never been knocked out either, you know.
And like to Melky's credit, he has been very active. So with like the multiple weight cuts and stuff, and I'm not positive, but he tweeted that something big was coming. Hopefully, that's some other opportunity because I'd kind of prefer a little bit of time off, but I don't know. These young guys just seem to want to get back in there, and that's the best kind of medicine for the loss. So it wouldn't shock me at all if he gets booked sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So Arnold Allen is 7, and so we talked. Yair is 5, Larone's 3, Aljo's 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would take any of those, and that's kind of my point. Like, hopefully they have him fight up, and he is one of those guys that he struggled with guys at the top, but at the same time, there's a reason he's been able to stick around all this time. So,
yeah,
I wouldn't put it past him to get because if you beat any of those guys, you're more or less in title contention.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of Melky, him and Aaron Pico would be good. They're both kind of ranked right around the same area.
The Pico Army is not going to be thrilled with you. They're like, we want to fight someone with a win, but I would not hate that at all. I think that'd be electric. Yeah, I don't know. That might be a rough one for Melky too, as far as like a fight coming off a loss. But
yeah,
he's never shunned away from competition, so I know he'd take it. But I wouldn't hate it. I would absolutely. That to me is a main event for a fight night, though. Like I want to see 5 rounds of that. I know Melky's first 5-round fight didn't go.
He showed he can go 5 rounds.
Yeah. I guess if there's something to take away positive, you are right. He, I'll allow it.
You got any other notes on this Apex card? I know you said you have 2 booklets full of notes here.
Well, that's a little exaggeration. Doohoo Choi and Daniel Santos, I do think that was the best fight of the weekend as far as like a back and forth entertaining war. Shout out to Duo Choi for getting it done. I know he's definitely a bit older, but there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with him. And definitely have to give praise to Juan Diaz. I said last week, I thought that was a really tough fight for Wellmaker coming back. And so I'm not necessarily out on Wellmaker or anything. I do think fighting a debutant coming off a hot knockout like that on Contender Series is nothing to sneeze at. And he showed that he's very good with that performance. I guess if you'd say anything, it's frustrating to see him kind of struggle the same way in both losses, but he's so young, man. He's got plenty of time to make it right. And I got full faith he'll bounce back. And then Bernardo Sopaj, hell of a fucking victory. I'm very interested to see what kind of he's got going on in the future. I saw a lot of people picking Kumba, or however the fuck you pronounce his name, but I was glad to see Bernardo get the victory there. And Tommy Grant, he's DC's coach or DC's teammate or whatever, and he showed some pretty good wrestling with even more interesting ground and pound. Like we see all these guys all the time just like wrestle to hold the position. He was actually doing something with it. So, shout out to him. And Chaos Williams, one-way traffic back
Yeah,
in the
that's what
win
Chaos
column.
Williams does. Yeah, he doesn't fight often, but when he does, that's what happens.
Yeah, and if the MVP event was not on, I do think this would be received a lot better. But at the same time, I can't blame anyone at all for prioritizing the thing that was in an actual arena with a crowd. But my biggest takeaway is I love that I was able to watch both of them, and it kind of all overlapped perfectly there.
Yeah, speaking of Saturday night, and Bobby, it'd been rumored, and I said it on this very program last week. I said they're going to announce the Conor fight during the MVP fight. And not only the MVP fight, they announced it during Francis's fucking walkout. I mean, Dana White is one of the most pettiest people on planet Earth. And we all know that it was intentional. I don't care. I mean, they asked Francis about it, and he said, "Why the fuck do I care?" And perfect response by Francis, by the way. But it is none other the return of the MAC International Fight Week at Max Holloway versus Max Holloway at 170. Nonetheless, Bobby, I don't know if I really like it. I would rather have seen Mike Chandler at 170 versus
What?
I would have rather seen Chandler versus Conor at 170 than Max and Conor at 170.
Please elaborate.
I think Chandler's a more natural 170er. He's just a bigger body frame where I feel like that's a more natural fit. So that's why I think Max is a little too small for 170. Like he's gonna have to now pack on the weight more, and then what's he gonna do? Go back down to 155 again? That's where it was. Let me ask you this: would you rather have seen Max versus Hoofy at the White House, and Chandler versus Conor at 170?
No.
No?
I'm so out on the Chandler fight. It needs to just be left in the past where it belongs. And
I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying. Like out of the two, I just don't need. I don't really want to see Max at 170. But maybe I'm sure it'll translate, and I'm sure he'll piece Conor up.
So, to me, because I to be honest, like I was surprised McGregor was going for this big type of big game off his first fight in 5 years. But it being
what
at
other
once,
game is there though? That's the problem with Conor. It has to be somebody with a name, right? It's got to be somebody with a name. You look at all the 170s that are ranked. He can't beat a 170er that's ranked.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think he's going to win this fight. But my main point is, I think the only reason he took this fight is because he figures, well, at least I would hope to have the size advantage in the fight. So it makes a little bit more sense with the matchmaking of it, because it's like, oh, damn, coming off a 5-year layoff where your leg snapped, you already weren't able to make it through one training camp, and now you're going to fight Max Holloway. Like, I understand that Charles Oliveira 50-45'd him, but Conor's not going to do any of that shit.
But you also know Max will oblige to Conor's game, right? This kind of stand and fight.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the main thing that sold it. It's a favorable stylistic matchup for him coming off the huge layoff, and he'll also have the size advantage. I mean, to me, like, can we even rule out that he's going to ask for it to be at like a 175 catch weight or something? Like, and again, like it's great the fight's announced, I guess. We knew if they were doing it during the MVP event, it would be during the Francis thing, because Dana has stayed relatively cool with Diaz, and he also has pretty high praise for Ronda still, So it was kind of not that shocking that was the announcement. But did that pettiness actually cost them an opportunity to make an actual announcement and get people excited for it? Because like I have not seen anywhere near the same traction for him coming back. I think more than half the audience is okay, well, we'll see you fight week, hopefully. Like you know,
I do
like
think I will say, well, Ariel made a great point. They missed the opportunity to announce, hey, we got a big announcement. Tune in to Paramount Plus at 8 o'clock or whatever. I think that would have been better than the IG Live bullshit that Dana does. And then they could have dropped the fucking promo. You know what I mean? They could have dropped a huge promo of Connor coming back, right? Like that would have been better. Like, hey, in between the, actually they could have said, hey, tune in to Paramount Plus. In between, before the main event starts, we got a huge announcement starting, and then they drop the fucking promo for Max versus Connor. And then you're getting eyes away from the Netflix thing and tuning into Paramount Plus.
yeah, but the thing is, I don't think it was designed to actually get people to turn the event off and go
Just
over.
More people talking.
Yeah, it's more like, oh, that's right. Like they still have Connor sort of thing.
Yeah.
This is why this is, because, you know, most of that stuff is just going off on people's phones and they're watching the event on the television.
Right.
And, you know, I get the point, but I just, it does not feel like, and granted, there's reasons for that. No one's stock has dropped harder than Connor, at least in my opinion. I mean, you might talk to some Connor fans and they'll say he's still the biggest thing ever and stuff, but especially like what I'm going to really appreciate about this is we actually have a blueprint now. Granted, it was on Netflix, but Ronda Rousey was off for a decade and she still pulled a fucking ridiculous number.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the International Fight Week card and the White House card, they are not touching that viewership. Like their only chance is if they stream it solely on CBS. If it's on Paramount Plus, there's no fucking way they come close to that number.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think the gate will do better though. The gate,
that no question.
The Connor gate will blow it out the water.
Yeah, well, especially with the tickets have been high for the most, like, what the fuck, this is really an event you're taking on the road events. Can you imagine those Connor tickets?
Right.
Like it will probably it might break their gate. I would expect it to, actually, like with inflation and everything. There's no reason the gate won't be record breaking, but I'd be curious if we ever get the real numbers. And I don't think we will, mainly because they're not forthcoming with that type of stuff. The best we'll get out of Dana is the numbers were insane or something. Okay, that doesn't quantify shit. So, my bigger takeaway was that entire event is built. That's a really good event. Like Royval versus Kavanaugh on, like.
Here's the full card itself. You have the co-main is BSD versus Patty. That's a big one at 155.
Is that 3 rounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista. Still feel like Corey should have fought on the White House, but I'll take Sandhagen Batista here. That's a good one. You get Gable Stevenson versus Akan. You get
that his name?
No, Akan?
Oh.
No.
Well, I just heard Akan, and it's like, huh?
Oh,
never.
No, as in a can.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
You do got Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanaugh opening up the card. That's a banger.
That's such a good fight.
You got Robert Whitaker making his light heavyweight debut versus Nikita Krylov.
On the prelims, right?
Yeah. You do
And
have
Connor cards are built pretty soft normally because of that. And this, like, on paper might be one of the better undercards that we get for a Connor fight. So that's a win.
Yeah, you do have Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez, maybe a loser goes home match. And you got Tracy Cortez versus Wang Kong, a pretty important women's flyweight match.
That's a pretty cool matchup. I'm not going to lie. I've always been a fan of Wang Kong.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the card itself is pretty decent. Let's just hope it stays intact. So, mainly the main event. So,
but I will say it is built good enough. They have insurance if it does fall out. Like, that's still a pretty decent card. And I'm telling you, like, I know this confirms that Islam will probably be fighting Gary or Morales in Philadelphia. But you can't tell me that's not their first speed dial pivot if he falls out. It's either that or the winner of Aspinall or Poten and Gone.
Well, like, that would be only a month difference, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying if for any reason the Connor fight falls off, those are going to be the two pivot options to save the event.
Yeah, hopefully it stays intact. Bobby, no UFC this week, but we do have some boxing. It is the return. I don't know how much of an appetite I have for it. Van Hooven versus Alexander Usyk in front of the pyramids in Egypt. I'm sure I know you're a sick fuck, so you're gonna tune into it. I don't know if I don't really know if I have the appetite to watch the greatest boxer, one of the greatest boxers on planet Earth, fight a kickboxer.
Brother, we just had some MMA fun on Netflix. It's more than fine to have some fun in boxing.
They've been having fun, though. We've been having fun, and just, I don't know. I'd rather see Usyk fight somebody real. Like, I'd rather see him fight Anthony Joshua or fucking somebody.
I understand it. It's not the matchup that I would have obviously selected. However, I do think Usyk has done enough in his career. If he wants to get, a big payday for like a mega fight like this, I'm all for it. I think it's a pretty cool opportunity for Rico. I do think it's a little crazy. The title is on the line, though. And I don't think that will like really matter at the end of the day. But I do understand like why the boxing purist would have a problem with it, that part of it. But at the same time, like the rest of the card, there's some intriguing fights on it. So I'm actually happy there's no UFC, so I can kind of completely focus on this. I think it's a nice little appetite, to get us to Macau next week or whatever is on.
Yeah.
Another 4 a.m. card that I will not watch live.
Yeah, I'll say that's in the morning time, right? The Macau card.
Yeah.
I like it. I sign up for the pancakes and knockouts when they do them.
Yeah, well, you're also in a time zone that allows you to. So I hope you enjoy your pancakes and knockouts.
2 hours ahead of time, So, but yeah, I don't really know if I have the appetite for it. Will I tune in? Yeah, sure. I think. What do you make of the in front of the pyramids things? Do you think this is going to be what was that shit? The Times Square bullshit that was fucking earlier.
I think it is the most ridiculous source of funds to put a fight somewhere like this, and it means absolutely nothing. However, if the counter is just having the thing in Saudi, sure, I'll hope it will do better here. But I am absolutely not like every time I hear that, I just laugh because I always forget it. And I saw them building the stage, and someone was like, "How much do they pay them? You think?" I'm like, "They get to live."
Yeah. Right.
You know what? Um, but you know, I do think it might like have a cooler visual than the Times Square thing, which just felt like a stale environment. I don't think they're gonna have to like worry about blocking off the fight to anyone, so you will actually be able to get that backdrop. But in a sport that has had some pretty weird things in it the last 3 years, this might be one of the weirdest for sure.
Right. 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 That's what I mean. You're like, oh, we got to have fun. We've been having fun in boxing. I need some. I mean, we, you know.
But this is just some, and like, granted, I obviously expect Usyk to win, but
Right.
I think Rico will at least give us some fun moments in this.
Who would have had a better opportunity? Who has a better opportunity? Francis versus Usyk or uh, Rico?
I both think they don't. I would I would pivot saying Francis because like Rico is losing a huge weapon being a kickboxer,
Right.
in, you know. So even though I really wouldn't give either of them too much of a shot, it would probably have to be Francis by default because he at least has done some boxing and stuff. And, you know, I do think Rico sacrificing two of his weapons because he can't throw knees either. So that's a big fucking deal. But
Right.
you know, realistically, like I don't know, like is your expectation that Usyk needs to finish him? Would it be a bad look if this went to the scorecards?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if it's that. I think because the environment's going to be fucking weird, so I'm going to throw everything out. And I don't think he has to finish him. He probably does finish him. I mean, how bad does it look if he doesn't finish him than everybody else that he finished? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, I think he'll be, he might carry him for a round or two, but realistically, I don't expect him to really do that at all.
right, right, yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, I think that covers it all for the week, Bobby. Um, we'll be back. You got anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Um, Probably just to go back to the MVP thing real quick, like to put a bow on that. I don't want the outcome of the fights and how simple they go really to overlook like what they did accomplish last Saturday. Like those numbers are big for a first event. That is an achievement. So I just am really hopeful that Netflix at least signs on to do one more to kind of build off that because I don't think they're ever going to compete with the UFC, but I think it could be a good avenue for other fighters. So I obviously want that to succeed. So,
Yeah,
um,
I think if you're a fool if you don't want these other organizations and leagues to succeed. It's better then. The world is better when there's more competition.
yeah, I mean, and who knows? Like
If you
maybe,
were tired of the UFC and all its bullshit, that it feels monotonous all the fucking time, then you want these other leagues to exceed because then that ups their game, right? They're gonna have to do better because of competition.
yeah, um, maybe. I I don't think any success they have would make the only thing that would change it.
Uh oh, Bobby's frozen. I think we lost him. Well, Bobby was about to say something, maybe the most greatest thing he was ever saying here about MMA, and we're not going to know because we lost him. Oh, he's gone. All right, well, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, Bobby will have better internet and new phone and everything else or something. I don't know. Nonetheless, I'll be back with the boys on the Fall Start Thursday tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. We'll talk all things NFL and then stuff and all other sports. And we're 5 corners tomorrow night. So tune in for that. Other than that, folks, be a friend, tell a friend. Like, subscribe, share. I'll be back. Bobby will be back next week for another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers tomorrow or next week, 8 o'clock on Wednesday, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. So be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy your weekend. It's a long weekend, folks. So, Monday's a holiday. So, other than that, we'll catch you next week. See ya.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.
That Bill.